Hey guys, welcome back to Skald. We are continuing our series on all the Dark Souls bosses, ranked from the worst to the best. Yeah, that's right.
Hmm.
I'm Joel, and together with once again Gabe,
Hey,
we are
hopefully
gonna.
this time it works.
Yeah, hopefully this time it works. We actually had a lot of trouble with this one. First, there was a problem with the audio. It was all skippy, so we were gonna have to redo it. And then where I live got hit by a hurricane, so that's always my power went out. So
Dang, Warren.
yeah, this video was a long time coming, but we finally are able to get back and continue this thing. So we are right around the 40s to 30s, so we're getting to the better bosses. I think
Yep.
right to the point where the bosses are starting to get pretty good. Classic Dark Souls.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, so we're not really close to the meta yet, but by the end of this list, we'll start getting into the ones that are really good. So with that, we will continue our count with number. What number did we leave off? Number 40, 41. Yeah, that's it. Ancient Dragon.
uh-huh. The Ancient Dragon. In Scholar of the First Sin, it's much easier than the original Dark Souls 2 for the only fact that the run-up's so much easier. But otherwise, to me, they're both fairly easy if you know their moves, telegraphs. You've maybe even done it a few times, just learn it and it becomes simple.
Yeah, like it's one of those bosses where you very well might die the first time just because of like the damage might just take you by surprise, and it's kind of bullcrap damage, but it kind of fits with the
Yeah.
boss. But once you figure it out, it's like really actually kind of hard to not beat this boss. And I did. It is a very long boss, so I one of the longest in Dark Souls 2 without dealing with this. So I did speed it up quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad boss. I wouldn't say it's definitely not the worst dragon than the Dark Souls. Well, Dark Souls 2 has put out the Guardian Dragon, which was much worse. But it's definitely not
Oh yeah.
the level that we count.
This technically isn't even a dragon. It's like a science experiment gone wrong. There's a
soul
the
giant
Lord.
inside.
He also makes Vendrick easier, which is nice.
Oh yeah,
You his soul. There's not much else to say about this boss other than like once you know what you're doing, it's fairly easy. Good lore to it, and the run up's super easy in Scholar.
Yeah, it was difficult in the other one. I do like the area it's in. Like, I'm not too thrilled about maps where you can just walk off the side of them. But it's so cool how you're just fighting a dragon on this like pillar raised up in the air, and you're just surrounded by dragons. It's really cinematic, and it's a really cool way to fight. So
I also dislike maps you can fall off of.
yeah, because you actually fall off of them a lot.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever fell off the Ancient Dragons ones.
Yeah,
See, I fall off the ones I'm not supposed to.
I've probably fallen off of him before, but that doesn't. It does. It's designed in such a way that it doesn't really add difficulty to the boss. And if it's one of those bosses that if you get him on really low health, then he ends up one-shotting you with his fire breath. It's a real downer because it takes a while to fight.
Yeah.
But anyways, we think he belongs where he is. Starting to get to the good bosses, he's kind of at the top of that. So next we have number 40 is Yorm the Giant from Dark Souls 3. The reason Yorm
a gimmick boss.
Yeah, the reason he was put so high on this list, some people might have it lower because he he's not like a real fight. It's more like a mechanic fight. but this is one of the best mechanic fights in the game, in my opinion.
Soul series.
It just makes it a really, really epic fight. Like fighting a giant with this weapon that just like it takes massive chunks of health, and then he can take massive chunks of health back. It's just really epic.
Yeah. It also, he has to have my favorite lore in Dark Souls 3. With you even if you do what's his name? Sigurd's questline, and he just like comes into the boss fight like saying he's keeping his promise or whatever. It's great.
Yeah, and that makes it even more epic. The way, like, he's not even a guy you summon in, he just walks through the door, points a sword at him, and it's like, oh friend, it's time to keep my promise. It just adds to the epicness factor. Now, once you actually get a handle on the mechanics of this fight, it's definitely not a hard fight. It's actually pretty hard to die on him. But it's just such an epic fight that we think he belongs where he is right here at number 40. So,
yeah.
Gorm the Giant, pretty decent looking boss, pretty decent lore. That's where he is. So, next, number 39, Old Dragon Slayer.
Oh, this one. There's a few things about him. First off, he's basically always nice. I never complained about an Ornstein. But one thing, why is there a dragon in front of his boss in Scholar?
Yeah, it's just stupid. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, they added that in Scholar. Probably just as an extra challenge, and they didn't even consider that hey, he's right in front of the guy who's supposed to kill dragons. Like,
and crazy because no one's gonna really go off on it or go at they usually would. They're like, a dragon that's harder than the boss. I'm good.
Yeah. Like. And there's, like, the Royal what is it? Sentinels? Blue Sentinels? Yeah, that's it. The Blue Sentinel Covenant PvP area is behind him, so that's the only thing he's really guarding. But, because...
That's dead.
Yeah, it's been dead for a really long time. So maybe in the beginning he was worth killing, but not anymore. He's one of those bosses that's just better to save till near the end. Or in the middle of your fight. There's no point in fighting him at the beginning. So.
Yeah.
And then
also he can be poisoned.
Yeah. But if you do fight him in the beginning, it is a pretty fun fight, I will say. So, you know, that's kind of why we have him this high, and the nostalgia. So, number 39, Old Dragon Slayer. On to number 38, we got the Four Kings. So this one, we disagreed on this one. I thought it should be higher on the list. He thought it should be a lot lower. But the reason I think it's a good boss is because it has a time element to it that normally I wouldn't like in a boss fight, but I think they did it really well. And I also think that it forces you to change your play style, which again, normally I don't like that type of thing when it forces you to either change your armor or weapon, but I think for this boss it really fits quite well, and I think they did a good job about it.
Yeah, it's also a very interesting fight. Like, it's much different than anything you faced so far. This is like the first time playing Dark Souls. The design is really cool.
Yeah,
the bosses.
Like, I think it would have been cool if each of the Four Kings looked a little bit different instead of like carbon copies of each other. But the actual Four King, like just the one of them, they all look really cool. Just the way their like robes are sticking out.
Yeah. Another interesting thing, this wasn't going to even be in Dark Souls at first. They actually had a different boss. I believe is Vendrick's brother. I could be wrong on that. But you were gonna
not Vendrick's brother. I think Wynn's brother.
Wynn's brother, not Vendrick. That's Dark Souls 2. But you were gonna fight him where you fight him and get the key to unflood it, and then you may have fought the Four Kings after, but there's going to be another boss in this area, which is interesting, and the action looked fun.
Yeah, it would have been cool, but I think taking it out wasn't a majorly bad decision.
No.
I think this worked.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know how I feel about the mechanic of you needing to wear a ring to fight this boss. Like, I think
Yeah.
I'm kind of against that. I don't like that. That's one thing about the boss fight that I don't like.
It makes sense, but at the same time, why didn't you have to wear the ring in the DLC? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Because in the DLC, you should have had to wear the ring if that's the ring you needed for the Abyss, but
Yeah.
oh well.
But it is cool how you had to, like, go in kind of an order of events to fight all these people.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a good boss. It's a decent boss.
They also have an ending cutscene, which is fun.
Yeah, not too high up because it can be annoying, but it's, for the most part, a good boss.
Yeah.
So 37, this is another kind of controversial one. We got Gravelord Nito. The reason he's up this high is that he has a really, in my opinion, is that he has a really, really cool design. Like,
Yeah.
how he's just this gigantic lumbering skeletons made of other skeletons. His cape is awesome. Like, it just looks super cool.
Also a fun Covenant.
Yeah, the Covenant's really cool, and definitely got a major boost in the remaster version, although it was only kind of temporary because nobody plays that anymore. But a negative thing about this boss, or it could be a positive thing depending on how you look at it, is that it kind of forces you to either avoid the skeletons or pull out a divine weapon and take care of them. And
Unless you're
also,
me and just let Nito take care of all the skeletons.
yeah, that's it. That's another way to do it. That's probably the smart way to do it. I didn't do it like that, but also the smart player never goes to the back where all those huge skeletons are, because screw those guys.
Just lure him to the front. He also has an amazing backstory.
Yeah, really good backstory. The boss itself isn't very hard. Most of his attacks are really easy to avoid. But he's just a kind of cool boss, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. He's really fun,
special,
actually.
but victory achieved. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up, who do we have next? Ooh,
What is this?
Throne Watcher and Throne Defender.
I really love this fight. It's a fun fight to me. Like, you can see I died, so they actually do have a challenge to them. You're fighting two at once, so again, it's kind of Dark Souls 2 difficulty of just throwing more at you, but
Then again, Dark Souls
it
1
makes
had this
you-
idea first.
yeah, it really makes you, like, pay attention to what you're doing, like ONS. Like,
Yeah,
they're not as difficult.
I really think they tried to make this as much like ONS as possible without actually ripping it off. And I think
Yeah.
they did a decent job.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, we think ONS is better, or we would have
I mean-
done them already.
It's a better last boss than Lysandra and Aldrich.
But yeah, combined.
Yeah.
That being said, if you know how to fight them, you can fight them and then beat Nashandra and then beat Aldia all in one go. So it's not like they're a terribly hard boss. But
They're also,
tell you what,
yeah, they're kind of a time trial themselves because you can't let them revive each other.
yeah, that's a really cool mechanic that they put in. Oh, I
Anyway.
put them in twice. I'm actually surprised to see
Oh.
that. Anyways,
Guess I did it fast.
yeah, like I said, they're not hard, especially if you come at them last. Like, you can fight them a little bit earlier, but if you save them till basically the last fight in the game, when you fight Aldia and Chandra, they take tons of damage.
I like doing them last because it feels almost like a mini boss rush.
Yeah. And one of them, I forget which one it is, but one of them has one of the best shields in the game. So that's really cool. You can get
That would
from
be the
this-
defender.
The defender, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely a shield worth having and probably worth using.
Yeah.
But yeah, we kind of glossed over the heal mechanic, but that's a pretty unique thing. That's something that kind of they tried to pull from ONS and didn't like a
Mhm.
spin on it, where if you leave one for long enough, they can heal the other.
Yeah.
But with this amount of damage, that doesn't usually happen.
No. And they also hit pretty hard.
Yeah, that's true. Decent boss. It's fine.
Mhm.
So, 35, the Rot.
Yeah. This boss, he looks, in my opinion, it's a really good look, especially from the place he comes from. You could cut off his limbs, right?
Yeah,
Is that a
both
different
of them.
boss? Yeah, you cut off his
You
limbs.
get something from each. I think maybe one's a Twinkling Titanite, and then probably, knowing Dark Souls 2, it's probably a Titanite slab or something like that.
Yeah. You gotta be careful where you're going because there is fire all around you. His
Stepping
grab
into that
could,
just destroys you.
yeah, his grab could do a good bit of damage.
It's a cool grab though. He like grabs you and then brings
Mhm.
you out.
Yeah.
I like how you could like the little guy in his corner. It almost seems like the guy controlling him. He's like mirroring all his movements.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really good like just I wouldn't say Easter egg, but gimmick that they put in there.
Yeah. It's like he's a puppet, like, or because like this guy's making all these like puppet type things. They're not exactly puppets, but the little statues that spit
Yeah.
poison.
And I love how if you have what's it called? Warren, you can just keep that guy alive and just cut off his arms, and then he'll have no arms and just be like waddling after you.
Yeah.
34 Demon Princes. I wanted
Yeah.
this one a little bit higher, but it kind of belongs where it is for the specific
Yeah.
reason that its first phase is not really single player. It's not meant for single players. Like
It's doable, but it's just difficult.
like you're almost guaranteed to get either poisoned or toxic, which I did in this fight. It's
But luckily,
obvious.
this is Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, it's obviously a fight that's meant for two people. And
And
if
when you
fight
fight it with two people, it's fun.
yeah, if you fight it with two people, it's great. We
Yeah.
always go after the demon and paint first because the second phase, this is another cool gimmick, actually depends on which one you kill first.
Yeah, it's kind of like ONS.
Yeah. It's
Which
small
one of them is
differences,
easier?
but they actually make a big difference in the fight.
Yeah.
Um,
One just, I believe he has less AoEs or something, or less in air
Yeah,
attacks.
like the demon from below, the last boss has I spent this up. Has a laser that's pretty easy to dodge, and if you do dodge through it, you can do some heavy punishment. The other one
Yeah.
has a move where he calls down meteors on you, and that's extremely hard to dodge and to punish.
Yeah. It's like an even harder to dodge meteors that's in the Dragon Armor's boss.
But yeah, and I really, it's almost like a three-phase boss in that you could choose to focus on both of them at once, which is kind of difficult to do, or you could choose to focus on one and then another, and then the third boss comes. And again, if you have two people, then this part of the fight isn't really hard. But regardless as to whether you have two people or one person, the second part of the fight, which we're about to show, this is fun stuff. Like, this is intense. I've got one shot by this.
Yeah. And the second phase, either of them is just really fun soloing.
Yeah, obviously one's a little bit harder than the other, but they're both very satisfying. They're not too difficult in that their moves are decently telegraphed, pretty easy to dodge. You can avoid most of them by like walking into him or in a certain direction.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what I'm a fan of. It's why I like the view. But and they don't do a lot of their attacks don't do so much damage that you won't be able to like recover from.
Also, something that's interesting, they're like the king of the Anorlando demons. Like, you can see it by their look.
And
they're the ones that control them.
Yeah, and I forgot something else is the lore that they have with Lothric and Lorien, and how it's because of them, or this guy in particular, that Lorien got crippled or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So they even have decent lore. So they have a lot going for them. And visually, they're really cool.
Yeah.
The only reason they're this down is because of that first phase. It's just too difficult for one person.
Which they're still not far down.
Yeah. Then again, they also have the game provides you with summons, so there's that. So Dark Souls 2, number 33, Ava the King's Pet.
Oh yeah. This boss, it's fun. Like when there's two of him, basically, it's awful.
Yeah.
But when he's just alone, he doesn't have the extreme, like, I'm gonna destroy your weapon, like, because it didn't make sense. There's the cool factor of you have to get the eyes to be able to see him, so you have to, like, you don't have to, you can fight him invisible, but have fun.
Good luck with that,
yeah. And his moveset is just really fun, like, going against.
He's like a genuinely fun boss to fight. He's one of those bosses I feel like that if you fight him the first time, you're like, oh, that was bullcrap, what was that? This isn't fair. But then if you go back and fight him again, it's actually fun. Like, you find his hitboxes can be a little annoying, but if you know what you're doing, they're pretty easy to roll, and you can, it's fair. It feels fair.
Kind of in a way like the Smelter Demon. Like, it's challenging, but it's actually fair, even if you don't think it is.
Yeah. A lot of good moves. Like, it's a pretty diverse set of moves.
Yeah.
He has
you can't stay behind him too
projectiles.
long because of the kick.
Yeah. Visually, I'd say he's definitely cooler. I don't know if Ava's a huge, but the King's Pet's definitely cooler than his other Lute and Zalen.
Yeah.
The way he's
like a white tiger.
Yeah. He almost looks like a summoned phantom. I just noticed that, but like he's like the same color as all the summoned phantoms. I guess that fits with the eye to see.
Also, his arena's really nice. Like,
Oh yeah.
just a long arena, perfect for an animal like this.
Yeah. And even though it's pretty difficult, you still got a bonfire pretty close by, so it's not too much of a hassle getting
Nah.
stuff.
There's like no enemies like going to them.
Pretty good
Anyway.
boss that. So I think last on this list, number 32, is Osiris the Consumed King. I've actually heard this boss as the last of some people's like least favorite bosses, at least in Dark Souls 3. I totally disagree with that. I mean, he
Because they
definitely
suck at it.
He definitely has some faults, but he's definitely not deserved to be the last on anyone's list. He has, I think we both agree on this. His first phase, he has two phases. His first phase is harder than his second phase, at least to us.
Yeah.
It's odd. I think it's because he does a lot of the spamming of the Mercury Pestilence, and so you have to keep your distance, and then a lot of his attacks. But
It's also, his second phase is just fighting a smaller board.
yeah, he has a really cool story though. Like the lore on him.
It's worth looking into.
Yeah, the lore is probably the reason he's this high. If it was just his fight, he would probably be a lot lower. Like, he might even be beneath the board. But the fact that he's like the king of Lothric and then tried to make himself a dragon and everything, it's just really cool lore. And also, how like they cut out this is another one of Bocce's videos. They cut out some of the sound for the baby, and I heard it.
Oh yeah.
It was horrifying. Like, it was
Yeah.
and they kept some of it in, but it just really creates a lot of good atmosphere.
Yeah, it also makes sense because he's guarding the path of the dragon.
Well, anyways, that's going to be it. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see you in the next video. See ya.
See ya.